It's an interesting thing because Canada has a law against the Canadian security establishments tapping phones within Canada. Australia has the same law in Australia, so they traded. Australians listen to Canadian conversations. Canadians listen to Australians' conversations. They both beat their domestic law, except now what's happening is that non-governmental actors are going to start playing the global game. It's very interesting. Anyone else want to jump in on this before we move ahead?
Well, I do think the question about transparency and it's very interesting how there's this question where the transparency is directed. Is it directed at individuals or at governments? And I think you know, I think we see this even in the Assange case, where on the one hand we have this amount of incredible transparency about what's going on. I found most striking in the Middle East, and you know, the serious risks of a massive escalation in Iran, possible escalation already going on in Pakistan, Yemen, various other places. And so there's sort of a set of transparency related towards making government more transparent. And then, of course, you have all the transparency about Assange personally that's come out, where one suspects that there would not have been nearly as much transparency into Assange's escapades in Sweden had it not been linked to this government thing. And I do think that transparency you know, is an incredibly powerful weapon of sorts, and we have to think really hard how it gets used, and we should distinguish very much between governments and individuals, and this is a very important kind of a thing to do. That and one of the big differences is governments have the power of the state on their side. They can use violence, and we should be following the violence and seeing where it leads. We should have more of a presumption of innocence with individuals and have more privacy in that sort of a context. So I think that that asking questions, you know, I think we shouldn't simply have a gloss that we're going to have a more transparent world and that's better, or we're going to have, you know, less privacy and that's worse. But we have to ask some very tough questions about where the transparency is being increased and how that changes the balance of power between states and individuals.